Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. On Thursday evening, Al-Qassam Brigades, the military wing of the Palestinian resistance movement Hamas, announced that it had targeted an Israeli infantry unit of 50 soldiers near the Al-Falah mosque in Tel Hawa, south of Gaza City, using an anti-personnel explosive referred to as television bomb. This attack on this 50 unit or infantry unit of 50 soldiers came after what they have done in the Netzarim axis. Netzarim axis is a place in the south of Gaza where Israeli soldiers, ITF or Israeli terrorist forces, they concentrate often. Means they go there for meeting gatherings. And yesterday they have come under attack by the Al-Quds brigades of Hamas and also by other axis of resistance. This is making Israel's planning of Gaza war ever more complex. In other words, they are not seeing the end of the tunnel, because every time they target one area, Israeli forces, they come under attack from these resistance forces from a different area. Means they are always on the run and they're panicking at the same time, not knowing from where the next strike will come. Obviously, with Hezbollah now not launching missile attacks on them is making things a little bit easier for them to breathe. Nevertheless, the guerrilla warfare that is being taking place inside of Gaza, both in the south and also in the north, is making their life ever more difficult and very, very challenging to meet this new kind of attack. While details about this operation, so these 50 casualties, continue to emerge, the group released a video showcasing their fighters executing a third ambush against Israeli soldiers and vehicles in Rafah, southern Gaza. Now, these soldiers' third ambush was actually mentioned by Al-Qassam Brigades yesterday, and I have elaborated on that. Basically, when they said that we will come back, means Hamas is always coming with new attacks, surprise attacks if you like. When they have completed the second operation or second ambush, they actually posted a video saying at the end of the video, coming soon, third ambush. And this is exactly what has happened. They have executed a third ambush against Israeli soldiers and vehicles in Rafah southern Gaza. The operation, named Victory for Sinwar's Blood, consisted of 3 ambushes conducted November 22nd to November 24th near Awad Tower intersection in Al Janaina neighborhood in Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip. This operation, the name of it, if you take a look, is very, very interesting. It was dubbed as Victory for Sinwar's Blood. Now, this is very, very interesting, the title, or this is how they're conducting their operations, because Israel, they, if you don't remember, they wanted to make a big deal of Sinwar's death, and basically they said that we will not hand over any of our leaders from Hamas in the future anymore to Israeli aggression. Means they have now a new strategy or a policy, if you want to call it a policy, where these leaders of Hamas, they are not going to be in the battlefront, in the battlefield, fighting physically. Means they will not, even some reports suggest they will not be even in Gaza anymore. They will be stationed whether in Qatar or Turkey. They are not going to be in Gaza. Therefore, it is a huge blow for the ego of Zionists that they're now using Sinawar and what he had done as a way of tormenting them. Also, the other reason why Hamas is using that particular name, or titling that whole campaign after his name, is because Sinawar has become a legend, according to many Arab, including I have seen a lot of people commenting saying that, oh, Sinawar is our hero and this happened, that happened, and social media was flooded with a lot of praise for him. Therefore, Hamas, they are taking full advantage of that, and they know that this name has become now a selling point, if you want to call it that way, and that is how they're encouraging and motivating and inspiring new people to join in this war, because it is no longer a war between just Palestine and the Zionist state of Israel, but it is also a war between the reputation of the Gazan forces, the resistance forces, and the reputation of ITF, which is broadly being criticized, and we call them Israeli terrorist forces, as you know. So this was part of group's retaliation for Yahya Sinwar, the political leader of Hamas, who was killed on during clashes, October 16, in the Sultan neighborhood west of Rafah. So these operations are taking place close to where Sinwar was killed, and therefore it makes more sense that because of the proximity for that, they're using his name to really encourage and inspire new fighters to join in. The footage revealed that the fighters launched successive attacks targeting D9 military bulldozers with Al Yassin 105 shells, striking 2 personnel carriers with anti-tank weapons, and hitting a fortified building occupied by Israeli soldiers with an anti-personnel shell. We will not talk more about these attacks, how they happened, but these are very, very consistent, where we see they attack these bulldozers with Al Yassin 105 shells, and they also attack those personnel carriers with anti-tank weapons, which is becoming a huge problem for the Zionist forces. And they have also hit a fortified building occupied by Israeli forces with an, again, anti-personnel shell. So we'll not go more into details, but I just want to actually talk a little bit about something else. Let's move on to what is happening right now with the Syrian rebels. Now, before I say anything, just want to let you know, a lot of people say, oh, these are not rebels, they're the terrorists. It doesn't matter how you call them. You call them rebels, you call them terrorists, doesn't matter. Okay, if you want me to call them terrorists, okay, let's say they're terrorists. Does that help with the situation? Of course not. Does it help with Assad? Does it make his rule more strong and his hold on the situation stronger? No, absolutely not. So regardless of whether you call them rebels or terrorists, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, these people are coming for him, and he had killed so many of them, displaced millions of them, and these people, when they come back to their homeland, to their residences, some are now coming from Turkey, because these people were driven out by Assad. So they're coming back to their places, and they are absolutely delighted. So the war now is taking a very different turn. Now the fighters, they have their hands on some very sensitive technology that Russia is using in Ukraine and will be using in the future. Okay, that is a matter of concern for so many people, because if these rebels or terrorists, whatever you want to call them, they have their hands on these weapons, then you will see that they will be able to easily figure out how to fight against Russia. And to make things even worse for Russia, they will be providing this weapon to who? To Ukraine, and also to the Western countries who will investigate how this S-400 works. And Russia doesn't want that. And this is why perhaps we are seeing Russia only has now 4 aircraft, fighter jet overhead, pounding on the position of these rebels. Only 4. Why? Because as I have reported yesterday, I have seen when I was doing my research and digging, I found out that Russia's attack, or response I should say, is slowed. they are not as enthusiastic as they were back in the year 2016. This time they are using very minimum military equipment, military asset to defend Bashar al-Assad. Now what Russia is most likely going to be doing is pushing those militias from Iraq to come and rescue Syrian Bashar al-Assad. That's what they are planning to do. That's exactly what the plan is for Iran too. Iran said, worst comes worst, we will send troops. This is what is coming from IRGC. But we are not going to send Hezbollah fighters to you guys to rescue Bashar al-Assad. Nevertheless, we now have a new development where Hezbollah said we are ready to back up Bashar al-Assad for his protection. That's what we will share in a second. But let's see what this news is about. So the Portlet K1, this is a game changer. The Portlet K1 advanced mobile low altitude 3D surveillance radar system of the type captured by the Syrian opposition forces on December 4th. You see this radar system on the screen. Now this is what is used by S-400 when they launch surface to air missiles. This is the radar system they use. Now this is falling under the hand of these rebels or terrorists, whichever you call it, doesn't really matter. Now this can be used because according to this same report, Ukrainian forces are also on the ground with these rebels. So obviously they will want to look at it to find out what is happening. But Ukrainian forces on the ground with the rebels is something I cannot confirm, I cannot verify, but this is what they claim in this article. The list of most modern and essential Russian military equipment that has been abandoned in the face of the lightning advance of the Syrian rebel forces is astonishing and grows every day. For the last few days, the world's media has been plastered with photos of masked jihadists in front of captured helicopters and anti-tank, anti-aircraft weapons. On Sunday, both pro-Kiev and pro-Moscow social media was awash with reports and images of captured Russian air defense equipment, all of which were said to be operational after the rebels seized the Kuwairis airbase. Now here is the interesting part. So this air defense system equipments, they're all operational, but MiG, Russian fighter jet, MiG-29 I think, is not operational. Russia did a very poor, a very sloppy job in terms of managing its assets. They left Russia for Ukraine to fight Ukrainian forces without protecting and guarding all of these assets, military assets in Syria. Now they are falling in the hand of these rebels who can use this or pass it on to Ukraine or Western countries. So Russia had made a big mistake. I don't know why Putin would do that, but definitely this is not looking good. The plunder included Pantsir S-1, the S-822 Greyhound, self-propelled anti-aircraft missiles. So these are all other types of weapons that the rebels captured from Russian forces, or not from Russian forces, but the Syrian forces, I would say, that they have abandoned. And gun system, the 9K35 Strela 10 NATO SA-13 Gopher tracked surface-to-air missile system, several 23 4K 4 Shilka self-propelled anti-aircraft guns, and a handful of Starla 2 man-portable air defense system. You can see all of these things are now being captured by the rebel forces. So a Pantsir S-1 captured by Syrian rebels on December. So this is a weapon, looks like a missile system they have captured. Now obviously they do not know how to use them because they are not literate in that. Nevertheless, they have a lot of knowledge about drone and drone technology. Okay, so again, they might be able to figure it out with the help of Ukrainian forces or even with the help of Turkish forces. We do not know. Yesterday, it was reported that at the Al-Nairab airbase near Aleppo, Syrian rebels successfully captured several military aircraft, including 8 L-39 Albatros light training and attacking airplanes, as well as 3 MiG-23 swing wing fighter aircraft. Okay, while the rebels are unlikely to make use of the captured aircrafts, is a slap in the face for both Russian commanders and forces loyal to President Assad, who have controlled and exploited Syrian airspace for most of the year. This is where I said, guys, we need to ditch this guy, Bashar al-Assad, who is not famous, who is not popular. In fact, it is quite the opposite. He is very, very infamous. People from Aleppo, Hama, Idlib, all over Syria, they are welcoming these rebels. And yeah, you can say, oh, this is not good for the resistance forces. Okay, fine, but doesn't really matter. These people, they don't care about what is happening in Gaza. They care only about their own selves, because they are being displaced for the last 13 years. They want to go back to their country. Now their main concern is not Gaza. Their main concern is to go back to their homelands. All right, so if you say, oh, these people are all, one person said these people are ISS member. I mean, this is the level of stupidity people are showing on my channel. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Assad must go if we want to keep the resistance alive. Hezbollah for Iran, for Russia, Assad is a big problem, and I have pointed this out. Recently, Assad is meeting with UAE partners. He is very soft towards Netanyahu, because all of these things will save him from losing his grip on the power. And Assad, every time he sees an opportunity to make amend with a country that will help him stay in power, he will go there, regardless of who they are, what they have done to him. For example, he will go to MBS because he thinks it is very convenient to meet him and also get some money from him. Then next thing you know, he will go to Moscow. The next thing, he will go to Iran. I have not seen him in Iran for a very long time. The next thing you know, he is going to UAE, to those Emirati guys. So this guy is making things much worse, and he doesn't want Hezbollah's presence in Syria, because if he allows those Hezbollah fighters in Syria, especially using Damascus airport, guess what? The Zionists will come after him. So again, I don't know how to make things clear to you guys that this Assad guy is a Zionist. He's pro-Israel. He's actually pro himself. He's a narcissist who doesn't care about anybody else other than himself. Now, I mentioned to you guys about this particular news, that Hezbollah, nevertheless, they now said that they will back Syria al-Assad as opposition forces intensify offensive. Okay, so this is what is happening. Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Qassem has pledged the Lebanese group will stand by the Syrian government amid an advanced terrorist groups, quote unquote, he called them terrorists, trying to sow chaos in the country. I personally believe Hezbollah, they should reach out to these groups and come to a political solution instead of calling them names. Quote, they will not be able to achieve their goals despite what they have done in the past days, as we, Hezbollah, will be by Syria's side in thwarting the goals of this aggression as much as we can, Qassem said on Thursday, adding that the aggression, quote unquote, is sponsored by United States and Israel. I find this very, very strange and preposterous coming from this kind of statement from Naim Qassem, and also from Iran, also from Russia, that they are blaming US and Israel for these rebel attacks when they are not blaming the main culprit. According to a lot of people, they say Turkey is behind all of this. But they don't mention anything about Turkey. Why? It is because Turkey's Erdogan, he reached out to Bashar al-Assad many, many times in the past, calling him to accept a political solution in his country, in Syria. Not his country anymore, because it is being now ruled by these rebels or terrorists, or whatever you call it. But Bashar al-Assad said, no, I'm not going to be compromising. I don't know who you are. He doesn't want to talk to even Erdogan. So now you talk. So these people, Hezbollah, Iran, Russia, everyone is blaming US and Israel other than Turkey, the main player in this, if you want to believe that way. Because a lot of people are saying, well, Hayat Tahrir Sham has really nothing to do with Turkey anymore, because they are, they're unleashed, they're unchanged, and they are making their own decisions on the ground. They don't care about what Erdogan has to say anymore. Qassem did not give details of how Hezbollah would support Syrian President Assad, but the Iran-aligned group would do what it could. We do not know what kind of help they will send, what kind of help Hezbollah will send to Bashar al-Assad, but they are now obviously fighting with these Zionist forces in the north, try to reach a ceasefire agreement, but they are not able to. The ceasefire is not stable, it's very fragile, and they are always going back and forth with the terms and conditions and what is happening on the ground. Sometimes they get shelled, and so they have absolutely no idea how they're going to help Assad or how they will go to Syria to help them. If they do leave their post in Lebanon, guess what? You might see Israel invasion of Lebanon one more time. So they are terrified. They don't want to lose their grip on Lebanon whatsoever. Again, this is what is happening right now. The region is already on fire. Civilians have also borne the brunt of Syria's 13-year-long war, which has been largely frozen since 2020. I'm not going to be going more in details with all of this, but let me actually share with you something else here. So Hezbollah's chilling new move. This is coming on, I believe, Times of India. They are now reporting that Hezbollah is actually a big threat for Israel. So after Hezbollah gave Israel a tough fight, a ceasefire was brokered between the two sides. However, Hezbollah has been significantly degraded militarily, losing more than half its weapons in clashes with the Israeli Defense Forces. Despite this, Iran-backed group is working to rebuild and strengthening its arsenal. U.S. intelligence warns of Hezbollah's long-term threat to Israel, with reports of recruitment and smuggling efforts. And with the situation in Syria, it will be hard for them to really get any supply from Syria into Lebanon for Hezbollah. Why? Because all these times, yes, even though Assad, he doesn't like this weapon to be transported using Damascus airport into Lebanon, but the transportation or the supplying of weapons and arms to Lebanon to Hezbollah was continuous. Means he was always, the Hezbollah group, they were receiving those weapons using Syrian airport. But now the rebels or terrorists, whatever you call them, again, they have seized control of Hama airport. If they go to Damascus, obviously the airport will be under their control, and then next thing you know is Hezbollah will receive no weapon from Iran whatsoever through Damascus airport. No weapon. And that could be actually an existential threat for the Lebanese group Hezbollah. I'm telling you that. So these groups, all of them, they need to really come to terms. What you want to do? You want to kill yourself, fight among each other, or you want to survive and you want to fight against common enemy? It's up to you guys. So I'm not here to blame any party. I'm here to save the life of the people of Gaza, and that's all I want to do through my messages and what I present to you guys here with. Thank you so much.